Welcome to the online conference, Stability Within Uncertainty. And with us today is Dr. Nicole Albrecht from Australia, from Flinders University in South Australia, and RMIT University from Melbourne. Hello, Nikki.
Hello, thank you for having me, and hello everybody, how are you?
So perhaps you've been involved in well-being research and implementation for quite some time, and today's situation is calling or challenging us to resonate with well-beingness, where there's something that is disturbing the well-being.
Yes.
So perhaps you can just begin a little bit with explaining what you usually do in the context of well-being, teaching it or implementing it.
Sure. Yeah, sure. For the last decade, I've been involved with the Master of Wellness program at RMIT University. And so I've taught a range of subjects, wellness and lifestyle, mind-body wellness, which incorporates mindfulness, wellness, meditation, positive self-talk, aromatherapy for wellness, wellness assessment, and at Flinders University, I've been working there for about the last year. I've actually been going to Flinders University in South Australia since I was a child with my mother, so I've been going there a long time. But at the moment, I'm teaching in the Master's program in Education, Positive Mental Health and Wellbeing. And in that, I've got a whole lot of very, very keen students. We've got the largest class ever this year, learning about how to teach well-being and positive mental health in schools.
So is it just well-being for the teachers, or there is also an assumption or a hope that teachers will create enhanced well-beingness among their students, primary school, high school?
Yes, it's both. In the course that I'm teaching this semester, it's about promoting, assessing and teaching positive mental health in schools. So they will look at all the research out there and try to design programs to enhance well-being. Actually, a lot of them are already doing this because it's fantastic in Australia. Every school, nearly every school, there's a couple that don't, if they're very small, has what's called a wellbeing coordinator. So the wellbeing coordinator is responsible for nurturing wellbeing with students, and also not to forget teachers. So, you know, teachers' wellbeing also needs to be nurtured. So in the course that I'm teaching, we have a module on nourishing teacher wellbeing, because if teachers aren't well, then that affects the students as well.
So now we have a situation which is a little trying to shake well-beingness among teachers, students, families, parents, societies, countries, globally.
Yes.
How is the well-being, how is the situation now influencing Australia in general and education in particular?
Yeah, it's very interesting. During the first lockdown, which I think a lot of countries experienced, in all of the states in Australia, Australia has 6 states and 1 territory. So I work in 2 states. In one of the states, Victoria, they had quite a hard lockdown, and I was teaching positive reframing at that time, which that was a module that was due to start, and the day it started, everything was locked down. I think in that week, 6 million people lost their jobs, and there was a lot of turmoil in the country. So most of my students that I was teaching, most of the students actually work quite a lot to support their education. So they could be working up to a lot of working full-time while studying, studying as well. And some are working about 30 hours a week. So during that week, a lot of them lost their jobs, but during positive reframing, that technique, we helped students look at their thought processes and see what they're thinking. So instead of thinking, I've lost my job, I'm never going to find another job, you turn that thought around and saying, I've got lots of skills and I'm going to find another job. So never has that module of positive reframing, positive self-talk come in. It was just so helpful for students, and probably the most helpful thing that we were teaching at that time.
I think I recall you wrote to me that in Australia teachers, I don't know if it's all of them or some of them, but you attach the word heroes to teachers and their work in Australia.
Definitely.
Can you elaborate
Yes,
on that? What did you mean?
Yeah. Yes, sure. So I'm working with undergraduates who aren't in the teaching profession at the moment. And then I'm also working with a lot of teachers who are full-time teachers as well. So they're studying and working. They were asked to teach face-to-face and get online modules ready for students in a day. So never has, I think, more been asked of them. And we already look at, you know, a lot of teachers are stressed already, but they really rose to the occasion and did everything in their power to help families. A lot of families took their children out of school when they didn't need to, so they were helping and assisting families to learn. And really a lot of wellbeing strategies. A lot of friends who are teachers asked me, what can I do to help the wellbeing? And, you know, we looked at quite a few practices, mindfulness, gratitude, etc. And a lovely example that's happening at the moment with Victoria that's just gone back into lockdown is each morning there's a meditation time for the teachers. The principal of the school starts the day with a meditation. So yeah, teachers have been amazing during this time.
Is there, I mean, I'm sure that you've been personally, professionally influenced by the situation. How? In context of teaching, research, or just family and life? How were you affected?
Yeah, I was, well, when we were teaching positive reframing, I could feel all the suffering that was occurring in the world and with people losing their jobs. And I really felt for everyone. And I thought, how can I teach positive reframing this week when this has occurred? Because I often say, you know, for situations that are really bad, for example, a nuclear bomb being dropped on a country, you know, such as Hiroshima in Japan, you know, it's hard to reframe that situation. And I was finding it difficult. And so for my students, I said, you know, if I'm finding this difficult, and I think me just admitting that I was finding it difficult to reframe, the students really thought, I can do this, I can reframe. So I think it's always powerful if you say, you know, at that time, you're finding it difficult. And for me personally, I did a lot of meditation and insight meditation, and I started focusing myself on everything I could be grateful for in the world. So just all the little things which I'm, you know, already grateful, just to be able to have a shower, to be able to have food, to be able to have loved ones around you. So I really focused on a gratitude practice during that time.
And I wonder, from all your many years of research and personal involvement in those issues, well-being as a piece, and mindfulness, I mean, well-being in education as a piece, mindfulness in education as a piece, and positive psychology in education as a piece. Is there anything in the context, you don't know Israel, you've never been here, and you don't know the Israeli typical teachers, if there is something like that, but
no.
But I wonder from your work, if you would have any potential insights, like tips, and can even guesstimate what kind of advice, what kind of wise advices you think you may have in the context of teachers teaching. Many of them will be in an online, many of them will be without seeing the student as a community of learners. and having a face-to-face dialogue. And many of them may experience the inevitable consequences of the uncertainty that is in the air. And that may affect financially some families and practicality, daily practicality in some families. So the areas of your research I assume should be helpful in some way to bring stability to the uncertainty. So I wonder what some advices of you or anecdotes you can share before we say goodbye.
Sure. Well, apart from a gratitude practice, positive reframing, mindfulness and meditation, I think connection is another key. And I've written a paper on connection of a different kind, which I'll send to you if your viewers might want to look at. And I know for myself personally, creating those connections online and being able to help others. For example, I've had quite a few students who are struggling with online learning. They've just come back to it. But if you can show compassion, which I think teachers have in abundance, and just that caring for someone else's situation and just say, I understand it's not always easy. And I've faced these difficulties, when I started like a new online learning is very familiar for me, so I'm very much used to it, but a lot of teachers aren't used to it, and it's been a huge learning curve for people. And I think admitting yourself that it takes a long time, I found that helped the other day. I said when I started online teaching, it took me about or even studying, it took me about 16 hours over a month just to get used to it. So don't expect too much of yourself in that time, and just focus on connecting and caring and helping for others. That would be the last tip. Yes.
Thank you very much, and
okay,
take care and keep. We will continue our dialogues that we've had for the last few years, and so thank you for now.
And thank you for welcoming me to Israel, and goodbye to everyone and good luck.